In recent years, the representation of women in film has become a controversial and polarizing topic, especially when women are cast in roles previously occupied by men. In 2016, it was a question of whether or not a cast of female Ghostbusters could be funny. In 2018, it was whether or not Debbie Ocean and her all-female 8 could match the style and sophisticated charm of Danny Ocean and his all-male 11. Today, we're still debating whether or not a female-driven Wonder Woman sequel can match the same electricity and excitement as the parade of male superhero movies that have been released non-stop in the past 2 decades. The problems with these movies and other movies like them is the same. They're not exactly original. I mean, Ghostbusters, that's an 80s classic. Ocean's 11, that first hit screens in the 1960s with the Rat Pack. And Wonder Woman, geez, she's been in the comic books since the early 40s. So at face value, it seems like tired, worn-out film executives are just giving us the same tired, worn-out ideas. They clearly want these giant revenues that came with, these previous blockbusters without having to come up with anything new. So now writers, directors, and cast are tasked with the seemingly impossible goal of elevating dated subject matter beyond the original. And let me tell you, that is no small task. Good or bad, it doesn't matter. The studio will market the piss out of it and see how she goes. So, here I am now in my grocery store, staring face to face with Wonder Woman on every single flavor of Doritos known to man. And it gets me thinking, is this the kind of movie that'll leave a good taste in my mouth like simulated nacho cheese? Or will I feel the pain and instant regret of consuming a metaphorical bag of empty calories over the next 2.5 hours? Well, I guess we'll find out on this movie review from the Great White North.
The movies might be good or bad, but at least the reviews will be beauty.
Wonder Woman 1984 is a 2020 superhero and female empowerment film directed by Patty Jenkins, who also directed the original Wonder Woman installment back in 2017, along with the 2003 crime drama Monster, which garnered Charlize Theron a Best Actress Oscar. Well, you might be asking, what else has old Patty been up to? Well, that's about it. Aside from a few shorts and TV episodes, it's been strictly Wonder Woman. I don't know why, but this seems to be a common trend in Hollywood. Major studios trusting untested directors with major jobs. And let me tell you, there has been some mixed results. 2015's Jurassic World was an instant success with Colin Trevorrow behind the wheel, while in comparison, Josh Trank, he drove 2015's Fantastic Four right off the cliff. Fortunately for Warner Brothers and old Patty Jenkins, hey, Wonder Woman was an undeniable success, making over $800 million at the box office and generating largely positive reviews. So, it's a no-brainer. Get your butt up, Patty. We gotta make another one of these Wonder Woman movies and keep raking in the money.
Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
Gal Gadot reprises her role as Wonder Woman and alter ego Diana Prince, the Amazon warrior princess that upholds the sanctity of truth and is essentially flawless in every other conceivable aspect. On a scale of 1 to 10, she's a 15. We are all just essentially garbage people compared to her. This go around, she's battling against Barbara Minerva, an insecure museum employee played by Kristen Wiig, and Maxwell Lord, a struggling oil tycoon played by Pedro Pascal. Now, a museum employee and oil tycoon don't really stack up to All That Is Wonder Woman, so that is why the movie introduces us to a mystical monkey's paw they call a dreamstone, which allows its holder to make a wish, but with an unintended consequence. Now, at this point you're probably asking me, Tress, hey, what about Chris Pine's character? Isn't he in this one? His name's all over this movie. Yeah, spoilers here. He is back, but as a result of old Wonder Woman making a wish on that monkey's paw I told you about, so his soul kind of inhabits another man's body. You know, I get it, Wonder Woman. Chris Pine's a pretty good-looking dude. He probably has some killer abs, but with Wonder Woman being so wonderful, you think her go-to wish would be like world peace or, I don't know, helping all those UNICEF children live glorious lives.
Go, Pennies! Help the puny children who need you.
Yes, the premise to this movie is absolutely ludicrous. But I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw that bag of Cool Ranch Doritos sitting on my grocery store shelf and saw that the new Wonder Woman movie was going to be set in 1984, I got pretty excited, let me tell you. If you don't already know, I'm a product of the 80s, and there's just something about the decade when it comes to vibrant settings, clothing, and music that just exudes good old-fashioned fun. It's one of the reasons why a television show like Stranger Things has gathered such a following over the past few years. The juxtaposition between 80s nostalgia and battling creepy monsters, it works, and it works well. So, if Wonder Woman can embrace this tested model, we should be looking at another winner on our hands, right? Well, not so much.
Man, this is gonna suck.
At least it'll give us something to complain about.
Now, it'd be a real shame if the movie that intensely marketed itself as distinctly 80s didn't really give us the 80s vibes we were hoping for. For example, when your movie starts with Wonder Woman foiling a plot in a giant 80s-esque mall, that is good. That's the kind of settings where you can feel those 80s vibes starting to grow. But when your following action set pieces are the Middle East, the White House, and a drab military base, those vibes are all but lost. I will say that the costumes are on point, and they do give you those 80s vibes that we've been looking for. But I'll also say that when your main adversary, the cheetah, looks more like an old cougar that spent her last Friday in a club trying to pick up dudes half her age, you might have a bit of a problem on your hands. Ooh. I can look past a lot of these shortcomings, but the real crime for me is the lack of 80s music that should be jam-packed throughout this film. I mean, with all of the great 80s movies, the music came with montages. I mean, whether it was learning how to dance in Footloose, or intense training sequences in Soviet Russia in Rocky IV. Or playing shirtless volleyball with the boys in Top Gun. In an 80s movie, music and montages work. All I'm saying is, all those scenes with Kristen Wiig discovering her powers would have worked far better with a little of Cyndi Lauper's and Chris Pine trying all that laughable 80s fashion. could have been aided with a touch of Human League's Don't You Want Me Baby? Heck, putting the Katrina and the Waves classic anywhere in this film would have given it some much needed pizzazz. Bottom line, this movie consistently misses the mark over its 2.5-hour runtime. So I can definitively say that Wonder Woman 1984 is not so wonderful at all.
I think the technical term here is extremely lame.
For a movie that's heavily marketed as an 80s themed joyride, it's pretty disappointing when it's less fun than the original, set in the bleak landscape of World War I. Sure, the movie is a lackluster sequel, but it's not all entirely hard to stomach, which is why this reviewer gives Wonder Woman 1984 a 5.1. And for all those thinking that that score is reflective of some deep-seated sexism or misogyny, you can park those excuses at the front door. If you truly want to see a empowering female-driven movie, I suggest you watch something like Aliens, Norma Ray, or hell, even Thelma and Louise. You know, enough talk about Wonder Woman 1984. It ain't wonderful at all. That's the score, and that's the review.